Hello YouTube, this is Patrick from Team Bolshevik. Hopefully the dimensions of this video will be good enough to fit on YouTube. This is a little idea I had. Tell me if you like it, tell me if you want to keep going. I'm going to call this Redefining Broken. And basically my thoughts are, there's a lot of broken cards in the game right now. Tengu's broken. This, that, the other thing, it's all broken. But there's a lot of overlooked cards, a lot of really played cards that maybe are not just as good, but they're not getting their say, they're getting overlooked these days. And first episode, I feel like Dimensional Prison is one of those cards. Prison, activate only when your opponent declares an attack, remove from play the attacking monster. This gets over a lot of problem cards. It's field control. It's not Sakuratsu. Sakuratsu's Deep Prison Light, really. It gets them off the field, but it still stays in your graveyard. So, they can reborn it, whatever. And then cards like Shooting Star, Red Nova, Stardust, cards like that, they can just negate Sakuratsu. So Deep Prison's a little bit better in that sense. A lot better in that sense. My thoughts are just stack it up against the problem, not the problem cards, but the most oftenly used cards in the game, the boss cards, the big monsters, the broken ones, and see how it happens, see how it matches up. Dark Arm Dragon, he's not seeing as much play, he's not making as much of an impact, he's kind of just like, well, I'm running Darks, I'll run Dad, at this state in the format in the game, and he's not making a big difference anyways. But he is a big monster, he's a big, huge guy, you special summon him when you've got the requirements, and he blows shit up. Stacking up against Dad, it depends on how your opponent's playing. If they're going to target your back row, then, your Deep Prison's going to die. Depending on how many back row there is, how much fodder there is in the graveyard. But, if your opponent just wants to go for attacking directly with, 2800 monster, and you have monsters on the field, then maybe they don't care about Deep Prison so much. But I would think that the smart player would go for back row before monsters, so I would think that Dad would kind of rape Deep Prison. JD, another card that's just seeing no play in this format, because Lightsworns truly do suck this format. This card's going to run over Deep Prison, no problem, no doubt about it. Which, that's the whole point of Judgment Dragon. You pay the 1,000, you bomb the field, you attack 3,000, maybe more. So there's no doubt about it, JD beats Deep Prison. Armor Master, the best Blackwing synchro, at least in my mind. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with me. Deep Prison beats Armor Master this time. Armor Master's a big 2,500 7-star. There's not a lot of good 7-stars in the game. There's Black Rose. That's kind of it. Blackwings, or even just decks that run Gale, having access to Armor Master, it really gives them a little bit of an edge going into it, because you can't just run over it. You gotta kill it with your spells and traps. And Deep Prison is a really good thing to use on an Armor Master in this day and age of Vayu Turbo, because you remove it from play before they can fodder it out for their Silverwind. Forgot what it was called. Shooting Star Dragon. Getting a little bit more current. Shooting Star, a lot of people say it's a waste of time. I personally disagree. I think that if your deck runs Formula Synchrons, then you can full well run Shooting Star. Shooting Star negates destruction effects and it negates attacks, but it cannot negate its own attack, and Deep Prison is not a destruction effect. So when your opponent attacks into your monster or attacks directly with the Shooting Star 3300, you Deep Prison, it's removed. They can't do very much about it at all. That's really all there is to it. They can't negate their own attack, etc., etc. Red Nova. This is a really interesting card that's been getting a little bit more play with the Rise of Fables. Rise of Fables, although I've never seen this card make a very big difference in a Fabled game or anything like that. I mean, when you pull it out, it's game, but it's awfully hard to pull out. And first you gotta go for that Red Dragon Archfiend, which is never really great. It takes up extra spots in your synchro deck, as opposed to Shooting Star, because Formula Synchron is just awesome anyways. But Red Nova, you're requiring the Red Dragon Archfiend, and then this is another big monster that you don't bring out as often. But when it does come out, it's a huge problem. It's usually game, unless you have a set D Prison. Yeah, this is another thing that negates destruction, or just stops destruction of itself, and negates attacks, but once again, it can't negate its own attack, and it just gets removed, gets it out of the way, no more problem, unless you're facing like a macro deck that runs Red Nova Dragon, and then we'll just return it back. But D Prison does beat this card. Solemn Warning, I guess, would be a close adversary of D Prison. Like, if you have one spot left in your deck, which are you going to run? Solemn Warning or D Prison? Well, you gotta go with Solemn Warning, because Solemn Warning is negating it before it even hits the field. So your dads and your JDs aren't gonna have their effects. You know, they're not gonna be able to bomb the field and get rid of it before you can activate it. Solemn Warning is the life points cost, whereas D Prison's free, but Solemn Warning is better off in the long run, I think, in most cases. Unless you've got like 500 life points left, but by that time you've probably lost anyways. That said, if you're running the right type of deck, or even in just this meta, I mean, there's a lot of decks main decking it. I main deck D Prison in Tengu Synchro. So yeah, I mean, you can find space for both in your deck. D Prison though, Dark Arm beats it, JD beats it, it beats Armor Master, it beats Shooting Star, it beats Red Nova. So 3 out of 5 is not great, but it's not too bad. And then once again, you can just use it on anything. You can use it to get rid of that Tengu, just the one Tengu even, and then, you know, fodder out their Tengus so they can't avarice it back or anything like that. That said, Solemn Warning is the best card for any deck, really. Episode 1 of Redefining Broken, D Prison. Not broken, but it's really good. It's a solid card. Against the right deck, it's going to really hurt once they pull out their big monsters. Tell me what you thought. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me if there should be another boss monster or broken card that I should be stacking this card up against. Comment, rate, subscribe. Team Bolshevik out.